Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Silverback here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my playoff predictions for this coming up NFL year. So I went ahead and I made my playoff bracket, and I guess I'm going to show you guys my predictions and tell you why I chose them. So before I begin this, I just want to say, if you guys do enjoy this, please like and subscribe. Also, in the comments, tell me if you want more NFL content or if you want me to stick with the Madden content. And I hope you guys enjoy. So to start off, I'm going to go ahead and pick my division winners. And the very first division that I'm going to be telling you guys my pick on will be the Afc West. And this one isn't a shocker. Obviously, I have the Chiefs. Because why would you take the Broncos, the Raiders, or the Chargers when you have Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? This one's obvious. I'm just going to move on to the next division. Okay, and moving along, we have the AFC North. This one, I have chose the Browns. And this one, I could have really gone with either the Ravens or the Browns. I just feel like the Browns are a really solid team, especially with getting OBJ back this year, because they also have Jarvis Landry. Baker Mayfield has those two to pass to, plus Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to run the ball. Pretty solid offensive line too, so that's why I'm going to be taking the Browns. For the next division, I have the AFC East, and in this division, I'm also taking the Bills. There's really no competition in this one either. Patriots, I just don't see them being a competition or a competitor to the Bills. And obviously the Dolphins and the Jets just aren't even in the picture. So yeah, I got the Bills. And my final division winner in the AFC will be the AFC South. And this one was really a toss-up between the Colts and the Titans. And in the end, I chose the Colts. But really, I feel like either team could win this division. It honestly depends on how well Carson Wentz plays, but if he plays even just mediocre, I think the Colts could probably get this division. Okay, and with the AFC out of the way, I'm going to move on to the NFC. Starting off in the NFC North, I have the Packers. And honestly, if Aaron Rodgers does not play for the Packers next year, they will not win this division. It will go to the Vikings. But since currently Aaron Rodgers, as of the time I'm recording this, is on the Packers, I am going to be taking the Packers. And the next team I have is the NFC East. And for the NFC East, I am going to be taking the Washington football team. Now, honestly, I'm taking them because I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick will have a pretty good year. With Scary Terry. And I think Antonio Gibson is also a really great running back. So yeah, I'm going to be taking the football team, but the Cowboys could definitely win this division. Alright, for the next division, we have the NFC South. And I have chosen the Bucs just because I don't think Taysom Hill is going to do very well in New Orleans. If you looked at his first couple games, he fumbled a whole lot, and that's just not going to cut it. And honestly, I just don't think he's going to be the answer for the Saints anyways. So yeah, I got the Bucs in winning that division. And finally, in the NFC West, this one is actually a pretty easy pick for me, and I chose the Rams. I think that with Matthew Stafford, they are now a top 4 team in the NFL. Those 4 teams being the Chiefs, the Bucs, the Bills, and the Rams. And I think as long as they don't choke this, they have a chance at making the Super Bowl this year. Alright, and now that we picked the division winners, I'm going to go ahead and choose the rankings for each division or for each conference. So in the AFC, I have Chiefs at number 1, Bills at number 2, Browns at 3, and Colts at 4. And then in the NFC, I have the Bucs at 1, the Packers at 2, the Rams at 3, and the football team at 4. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is not on the Packers, then I would have the Rams at 2, and then at 3, I would have the Vikings. And the reason I don't have the Rams at 2 in this picture is because, honestly, they haven't proven anything, obviously, so I just can't put them in 2, but I do think that they have the potential to be a top 4 team this year. Okay, and so our wildcard teams for the AFC will be at the 5th seed, I have the Titans. At the 6th seed, I have the Ravens. And at the 7th seed, please don't hate me, Steelers fans, I have the Patriots. And so I think the Titans, if the Titans aren't there, then the Colts will be there. I think that's going to be a flip or flop, honestly. And then the Ravens, the reason I put them here is because I just don't like how they run their offense. It just seems like it's only Lamar, and they don't take advantage of the other weapons that they have. But they do have a really solid defense, and so I think they definitely could have a pretty good team this year. And the reason I take the Patriots is, one, because I don't like the Steelers. I don't like their team. Ben Roethlisberger is way too old, and I'm just not a fan. So yeah, I took the Patriots because I'm liking where they're going. I think they had a really good offseason, getting Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. Kendrick Bourne is there, and I think he'll make a fairly good difference. And then also Mac Jones. I think he, if developed right, could be a great player in the NFL, but he has to be developed right. So yeah, that's why I have the Patriots at number 3. So for wildcard winners, I chose 4 teams that could possibly make it. The Seahawks, the Vikings, the Cardinals, and the Saints. And I have decided for my 3 wildcard teams, number 1 wildcard will be the Seahawks, number 2 will be the Vikings, and 3 will be the Saints. The reason I don't have the Cards in the wildcard is because I think Kyle Murray will just be running for his life in the pocket like he did last year. And unless they can really make a change there, I think that's how it's going to happen. And that's just not going to cut it for them to make the playoffs. So, yeah, Seahawks, Vikings, and Saints. All right, so with our teams picked, I'm going to go ahead and go through these games on the AFC side first. And I'm going to pick who I want to win. So our first game is Bills-Pats. And before I get into this, actually, I do want to mention that I did not intend for these to all be division games with Bills-Pats, Browns-Ravens, and Titans-Colts. That's just how it happens. But Bills-Pats, I'm going to take the Bills. I don't really see a reason for the Pats to win this. And really, I think at this point, the Pats are just a filler for the 7th seed, because I don't really think any team in the AFC would really be a fit for the playoffs here. So, yeah, I got the Bills with a pretty big blowout. Moving down to the Browns-Ravens. This one, I have the Browns just because I like the Browns' offense way more than the Ravens. And even though the Ravens have a crazy good defense, they lost Matthew Judon, which is a pretty big loss. And the Browns gained OBJ from last year, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor. And the final game that I'm going to be covering in the AFC before we jump to the NFC is the Titans and the Colts. Now, the Titans and the Colts are, like I've been saying the entire time, this is a toss-up. But I'm going to be taking the Colts. Assuming that Carson Wentz has a good season, the Colts will win this. I feel like with the Titans, I mean, A.J. Brown is now Ryan Tannehill's only target, which means Derrick Henry is going to have to do a lot of work. And we've seen him do this work before, but I just don't think that he's going to be able to single-handedly beat the Colts. So that's why I have the Colts winning this game against the Titans. Okay, and so with the NFC side of things, we have the Packers and the Saints to start it off. And so I'm taking the Packers here, assuming that Aaron Rodgers stays, only because like I've said earlier, I'm just not a fan of Taysom Hill. I feel like Mike Thomas just isn't that. He's not a top 3 wide receiver in my opinion. And at that point, you're really just working with Alvin Kamara. So I got the Packers because I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to beat the Saints. Moving on to the Rams versus Vikings. This one is actually pretty easy for me. I got the Rams because I think, like I've been saying this whole time, Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback. And we've seen that this Rams roster can make the Super Bowl. We saw them play the Patriots just a couple years ago. And that was with a a decent quarterback in Jared Goff. Now with Matthew Stafford, I think they're even better since their lineup hasn't really changed that crazy much. And I just don't see the Vikings be able to compete with this Rams roster. And the final game in the NFC is Washington football team versus Seattle. And this one, honestly, could go either way. And I choose Seattle just because I can't take the football team over Russell Wilson. But, I mean, last year, it was just ugly for Seattle, losing to the Rams. And I honestly see, like, that's just becoming the trend of this team. Their defense plays sometimes and then doesn't play other times. And, so I'm just going to barely take Seattle on this one. Okay, so with the first round done, we now move on to the second round in the AFC. Our first game would be the Colts versus the Chiefs. And this one is pretty obvious. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes isn't going to lose to the Colts with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And I'm not going to name their entire roster because I could if I wanted to. We got the Chiefs in that game. And then the other game, we have the Browns versus the Bills. And this one is also a pretty obvious one to me. I have the Bills because, I mean, when I look at this Browns roster, I like it, but the Bills are going to have this momentum building throughout the whole season, and like they did last season. And I think Josh Allen connecting with Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley is just too good of a connection to beat the Browns. So, yeah, I got the Bills. And on the other side of things, in the NFC, we have Bucs versus Seahawks. This is a blowout for the Bucs. Seeing that Tom Brady can play at his age, and we've seen that Seahawks just haven't been able to play very well recently, even with, I would argue, 2 top 10 receivers and Jamal Adams in defense. They're just not going to be able to beat the Bucs in this situation. And then the Packers-Rams. This one for me is the Rams. One, because if I'm not even sure the main player on this Packers team is there, I don't want to put them into the NFC Championship. Plus, this Rams team is going to be hot. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be frustrated with his situation, and I just don't think they're going to be able to pull this one off. And I'm just going to jump in right into the AFC Championship here with the Chiefs and the Bills. Now, I have chosen the Bills, and I don't want to go against Chiefs here in Patrick Mahomes. But, like I said earlier, they're going to have this momentum going like they did last year. Josh Allen is going to be hot. And, honestly, Tre'Davious White on defense, along with everyone else that they have, Micah Hyde at free safety, I just don't think that the Chiefs will be able to pull this one off. And I'm not going to say that that Patrick Mahomes is just going to be being rushed the entire game, because that's not what's going to happen. We saw that the Chiefs have obtained Orlando Brown Jr., and I think that's going to make a big difference this season. But I just don't see Josh Allen and the Bills losing, because they're just going to be going so hard, and they're just going to be a great team this season. Moving on to the NFC Championship, we have the Bucs and the Rams. And this one, I take the Bucs just because I've been going with the Rams the entire time. Brady has proven that he can play at his age. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to go ahead and say that Brady is not going to be able to win a Super Bowl this year, because he is, if he wants to. Because even though he's old, he has the assets that he needs. He can get what he wants and when he wants it. And so, for that reason, I just don't think Matthew Stafford and the Rams are going to be able to overtake Tom Brady. All right, so for my Super Bowl winner for this upcoming season, I am taking the Buffalo Bills. Now, this one is a really good game, Buffalo versus Tampa. And so it's hard for me to not take Brady here, but I just see the connection between Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs will be just crazy good. They'll be in such a good rhythm, along with Cole Beasley. And although I think Zach Moss will be shut down for basically the entire game, I think they might struggle to cover Stephon Diggs. And I also think that Trey White will have a great game in this game too, because he's one of the best corners in the league. He'll probably be working with Mike Evans and a little bit of Chris Godwin. But I just think that the Bills will be on such a roll, and they'll just be going and going and going. And I think they're going to be a really tough team to beat. And I just can't go against Josh Allen, because I think Josh Allen is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in this upcoming NFL era. So, yeah, I've got Josh Allen and the Bills taking this one home, although I definitely think this would be a great game to watch in the Super Bowl. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think about my picks, if you like them, if you don't like them. I like to see some conversation in the comments. Alright, so yeah, that's my playoff predictions. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. And if you like this NFL content, come on, let me know in the comments too. Anyways, that's been Silverback, and I'm out. Peace.